The Broncos are back at the site of Super Bowl 50, where Von Miller was named Super Bowl 50 MVP. And did we just watch another Super Bowl team, in the words of Sean Payton? We're going to break it down. I was at Broncos 49ers joint practice, and so much to talk about, and I can't wait to do it with our guys, Ryan Koenigsberg, Henry Chisholm, here on the DNVR Broncos Podcast. Fellas, how we doing?
Doing great, Zach. You forgot another legendary performance that happened on the grounds you're standing on, which is Paxton Lynch's famed 12 for 12 joint practice against the San Francisco 49ers. It was the moment I thought maybe everything was about to change for his career.
Oh, my goodness. And then in the preseason game, didn't he absolutely tank?
Yeah, wasn't great.
Oh, man. So what you're saying is nothing today we should read into? Is that what you're trying to discredit me to start the show, Ryan?
Yep, it's all just practice.
Well, then I don't know if you're going to like what I was going to say, because we'll just dive in to my biggest takeaway right now of the Broncos joint practice against the 49ers. And for the most part, fellas, I think this team proved Sean Payton, it's very early on, but proved Sean Payton right in his comments about saying this team can compete for a Super Bowl. Look, it's the first sign we've got of this Broncos team going up against a different team. So it is unbelievably early, but Sean Payton made these comments before the Broncos had even played another team. And just 5 days removed from those comments from Sean, this team came out and made their coach proud the way they played on the field. And we're going to break it down. I've got every single play from practice written down to the best. I mean, I haven't even looked, but I think there's 40, 50 plays from each side of the ball. And overall, if this San Francisco team is more so of the team that we've seen these past 5 years outside of the team we saw last year, then this team is a damn good football team from what we saw in this joint practice. And I can't wait to break it down with you guys.
That's awesome, man. I was kind of reading all of your updates, not anyone else's, but
thank you.
Everything sounded really good. And, you know, there's certain things that you can't win a Super Bowl in a joint practice. You also can't,
even if you go 12 for 12.
You also can't lose a Super Bowl in a joint practice. But I think you could come away from a joint practice knowing, like, yeah, this team probably just doesn't have the juice. And it certainly does not feel like that was the takeaway today. And the opposite is very encouraging.
Yeah, 100%. Henry, how we doing?
No, good. You know, just got my oil changed today. So there's that. I don't have a lot of updates, really.
Really quick, before we dive in to the actual parts of what happened at practice, just a big takeaway. So I'm sitting here. This is my view right now, guys. I got a fantastic view of a beautiful field of Levi Stadium. But one of the things being out here that I realized, Ryan, I know you've been out here, this is my first time out here, is how important it is for the Broncos to keep the stadium in downtown Denver. That there's just nothing out here. It's so generic. The field's very nice. This stadium is pretty darn boring. This area is very nice but boring. No character, no culture. That's not what the Broncos want. So just a big takeaway just from being out here, my first time out here. It feels so unbelievably generic while being nice. No. So let's just start off with that, kind of setting the stage for where we are right now. 49ers had a great practice field. They have two practice fields. So the Broncos offense was on one going up against the 49ers defense. Then the Broncos defense was going against the 49ers offense. We got to see Brock Purdy go against this Broncos defense. And then we got to see Bo Nix go up against Nick Bosa and this 49ers offense. And the biggest takeaway that I had besides this team looking really good is it is so clear that the offense and the defensive line, the pressure that both of these units are going to give up is going to be what carries this team this season. At least that's the biggest takeaway that I had from joint practice in terms of on the field, how things looked. Because, guys, this 49ers offense did absolutely nothing when the pass rush was there. Not like sacks, but just when Brock Purdy had a little bit of pressure on him, the only thing he was able to do, two things. One of them was complete, I think, 2 or 3 passes to George Kittle, maybe the best tight end in the NFL. He was able to do that for about 5 to 15 yards downfield. There's some construction cars behind me, so we're going to have to live with that. But then the only other thing he was able to do with that outside of hit Kittle for a couple passes, which checkdowns to Christian McCaffrey. If that is what your defense allows, is a great tight end to catch a couple of passes, an elite tight end, and a running back, an elite running back when healthy, to catch a couple of passes out of the backfield, you got an elite defense. You probably have the best defense in the NFL right there, because there was no running room for Christian McCaffrey for all of practice. He wasn't able to do anything. And then I would say there was pressure on Brock Purdy 80 to 90% of practice. And when I say pressure, I just mean he wasn't fully comfortable in there. But when that pressure broke down, he was able to pick the defense apart a little bit. We saw that as practice unfolded. I don't know if the Broncos pass rush just got a little bit tired. They were still really good, but the first half of practice, guys, the Broncos defense did not allow Brock Purdy or the running game to do anything. I mean, it was as dominant as you could imagine it. It truly looked like it was the Broncos' first team defense going up against a second or a third string offense. And that's why if you followed my tweets, it was like, holy cow, this defense is so freaking good. Because Christian McCaffrey would catch a pass out of the backfield for 5 yards and he gets 6 yards. He was not running free after these. These were like check down, check down, check down. Nothing was there. And then on the opposite field, where you had the Broncos offense going up against the 49ers defense, it was the same story. When Bo Nix had any sort of a pocket, he was finding Troy Franklin. He was finding Marvin Mims. He was finding Courtland Sutton. Those were the 3 big winners in terms of the Broncos passing game today. Those 3 guys all really stood up, and we'll dive into some certain plays later as the show goes on. But it wasn't always the best from an offensive line standpoint today. That might be the thing that I'm keeping my eye on in this preseason game, that I'm keeping my eye on as the season really starts is, okay, we know we've seen this offensive line be really good, so I'm not pressing the panic button. They're going up against Nick Bosa for another first-round pick that the 49ers have, so it's a really good front seven. But that was one where, okay, we've seen this Broncos defensive line really get after this Broncos offensive line in training camp. Today, the 49ers were able to have some success with that, and I was really pleased with the way Bo Nix stepped up in that. Sean talked about it after, the spontaneous plays. That's what he used that Bo Nix was able to do based off of that pressure was really impressive. And it included the play of the day, which we'll get into as well. So, Sean Payton, we knew it. We had our guy Chris Sims come on our show right after the Broncos hired Sean Payton. Said the Broncos are going to get a lot of big effers in the trenches. And so we know that that's how Sean Payton prioritizes football and how he builds his team and how they built this team. And man, it's so clear that that's what this team is going to come down to on both sides of the ball. It seems pretty obvious, but not every team builds their teams that way. Some do the outside in, not smart. This team does the inside out, and that's going to be the key for this team.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to hear that the Broncos kept getting pressure against the 49ers because they were kind of beating up on their own offensive line. Yeah, I'm not worried about the Broncos' offensive line. It's one of the things that could go wrong if they do fall apart. But like this time of year, it seems like the pass rush is always beating up on the offensive line, mostly because like just the level of physicality that's allowed leans toward helping those guys out. Like when Quinn Miners isn't allowed to put a guy on his back, it's just a little bit different game. But something to keep an eye on for sure. And good to hear that the Broncos pass rush did better than the 49ers pass rush today.
Who was someone, Zach, that stood out to you today that maybe wasn't on the list of usual suspects coming in?
That's a great question. Just in general, or with the pass rush specifically?
No, just in general.
I'd say Marvin Mims, and I would say a big shout out to Marvin to start off, because he was named in the Broncos' first unofficial depth chart that came out yesterday. It might mean nothing to you, but still, the Broncos put guys in place where they are. Troy Franklin, deservedly, be getting so much attention in camp. He had a great day today. I'll get to that in a second. We obviously know Courtland's the number one, but Marvin Mims on the first unofficial depth chart was listed as the starting receiver along with Courtland Sutton, and he really stepped up today. No deep throws from the Broncos offense really today, but so Marvin was doing it from just being a pure wide receiver, making good catches. I think he had a 5-yard catch, 15-yard catch, a 10-yard catch. He was really solid and looked like he's taking that step. And we haven't talked about Marvin a lot just because he's been solid, but today he really showed like, okay, he can be that starting receiver. And I'll say it was exactly, the receiving room looked exactly like what we've seen in training camp, Henry. And it's, we know Courtland's the one, and then it's just a bunch of rotation there. But the three guys that really stepped up, Courtland, Troy Franklin, and Marvin Mims. And to start practice when the Broncos offense was absolutely dominating the San Francisco defense, it was Troy and it was Marvin, and then Courtland Sutton really came along with the play of the day. And let's get to that play of the day, because I think it talks to something deeper. But before we do that, what do you guys think of that first unofficial depth chart and Marvin stepping up?
Well, first and foremost, I find it very fitting that Marvin stepped up today, because it was literally our last show where I asked you, has Marvin Mims been too quiet? And, it was a conversation. And for him to go out there and, when it really counts, go ball out. Not when it really counts. The most it's counted so far it is very encouraging. And, we want to see him take that next step as a wide receiver, not just a gadget player or a screen guy. I'm not going to say what Henry actually said.
I meant it as a compliment. He's a little screen.
I know. Just it doesn't work for me. But yeah, that's huge. That's huge. This is exactly what you want to see from, Marvin when the competition steps up, and maybe Sean gets a little more creative with his play calling, I'm guessing, than a normal day in practice.
Yep, we did see a little more creativity today, which I absolutely love to see, but not just creativity from Sean. And this is something we'll hit on the other side of the break. The creativity from Bo. And guys, we'll get to it in a second, because let me just say that if Bo Nix had Patrick Mahomes' 15 and was wearing the Chiefs jersey, people would be going crazy for some of the plays that he's starting to make in terms of just the playmaking ability. And I think that's something that we're really going to see more of this year, and then he's going to get a lot more national credit for, is this playmaking ability. Sean Payton called it spontaneity, and let's get to that, because it goes to the play of the day, which he had, which was so good to see, because it also features Courtland Sutton. And let's get to that play of the day after I give a shout out to our friends over at Ent Credit Union and our friends over at Ent Credit Union. Broncos country, this one's for you. Ent Credit Union, the official banking partner of the Denver Broncos, has created a Broncos checking account that's built for fans like us. This thing is loaded with the kinds of perks that will get any Broncos fan fired up. Things like no surprise fees, no minimum balance requirements, and the money in your Broncos checking account that earns even more dividends. And the cool thing about this, the really cool thing about this, you get a Broncos credit card. My brother always had a Broncos credit card growing up, and I just thought it was the coolest freaking thing ever. And Ent is the only place that you can get that credit card. So make sure to become an Ent member right now. Go to ent.com/DNVR. That's ent.com/DNVR, where you can get perks like 10% off food and gear on game days at Empower Field, a Broncos branded debit card to rep the team. So go to ent.com/DNVR and sign up for Broncos checking today. Ent Credit Union is insured by NCOA. Membership required. Annual percentage yield. Account requires association. Ent Broncos debit card.
And shout out to Game Time. Game Time's awesome. Yesterday, was like a rare off day this time of year because I wasn't traveling. So I decided to go to that Rockies game in the middle of the afternoon. And because it was
Great.
100 degrees playing a team from Canada, it was only $55 to sit, let's see, the fifth row right behind the plate. So the whole game, you could watch me. I was just sitting right there watching the baseball game. $55. Like most, I guess maybe not most baseball games you can't get into, but like a Yankee game you certainly can't get into for $55. Dodgers you can't get into for $55. So the fact that you can take advantage of deals like that with these Rockies, incredible. They've got all the Broncos tickets. Some are the last game of the season against the Chargers is still surprisingly cheap. Like it's $70 to get in instead of like $300 to the Cowboys game. Game time is the best. You guys should head over there. All sorts of good reasons, including if you use the code DNVR, you can get $20 off your first purchase. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
All right, guys, let's throw our Shady Rays on because the future is bright for this Denver Broncos team. Because of many reasons, but specifically because of Bo Nix and the next step that he's taking. And I truly believe the next step for him is just unbelievable playmaking ability. And when you watch these plays, and we've seen him do this in practice many times. I mean, Henry, it's the pass that he has to Pat Bryant, run to the right side. He slings it across his body into the middle of the field for a 20-yard completion. He did that a couple of times today. Like I mentioned, there was pressure on Bo, probably more pressure than I really wanted to see on him today. And for the most part, he stepped up big time. And specifically, the play of the day, which is why the future is bright with Shady Rays, he steps up. So the Broncos are working red zone. I think they're about 15, 20 yards away from the end zone. And pressure's there. He steps up. I thought he was just going to take off and run. He throws this ball. I'm like, probably into the bleachers. Nope. Courtland Sutton somehow comes down with this ball, the very back of the end zone, drags his tippy toes right before he goes out of bounds, and it's a touchdown. Not only was it an incredible play by Bo from narrowly avoiding a sack in the red zone, but then taking off, manipulating the defense. I think he pulled the defense up a little bit because he scrambled up, and then he hit Courtland Sutton, and then just a fantastic catch by Courtland Sutton in the end zone. The play of the day, the future is bright because of Bo Nix. And if you want to get in on Shady Rays, make sure to use the code DNVR over at shadyrays.com for 35% off polarized sunglasses. But fellas, this playmaking was on display from Bo. Sean called it the spontaneity after practice, and that's what makes Patrick Mahomes so difficult as a quarterback. Is he good in the pocket? Yeah. But when the play breaks down and you have no way to cover him. I mean, a cornerback and a secondary cannot cover guys when a quarterback has a second move and is able to have a second play. And Bo showed that on many occasions today, specifically this one.
I love it, man. It's part of the it factor with quarterbacks. In golf, when a player is has a great short game, a lot of times they'll say like, oh, this guy has great imagination around the greens, like a Phil Mickelson. Like he can just envision shots that other people wouldn't even think of, and then he can execute them. And I want my quarterback to have imagination. You can get too crazy with it and start, playing hero ball and get yourself into trouble. But you remember that play last year where Bo took off running against the Chiefs, and he's 40 yards down the field, and then he pitches it off to the running back. Like it's just like that type of imagination. And I'll just keep going back to that same word that just separates quarterbacks and allows quarterbacks to do things that maybe are a little bit outside of the playbook, a little bit outside of the scope of what you expect out of a quarterback, and it just takes them to the next level. Obviously, you mentioned Mahomes. He's great at this. But the great quarterbacks, in this, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, whoever it is, like they have that just imagination to dream up things that maybe you couldn't have even seen. Heck, Henry, you remember it. Bo Nix tried to throw a pass backwards over his head against my Colorado Buffaloes at Folsom
He
Field.
did.
I think his imagination took him a little too far there, but hey, there's levels to it, and I feel like he's really got it under control, and he knows where to push and where to imagine.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been a strength of his too. Again, like sometimes potentially going a little bit too far, but all the way back to Auburn, like all the things that he did, like there was a throw at Oregon where he's falling to the ground and like just barely gets it around a defender's sidearm to score a touchdown. Like that's kind of what you were hoping for when you drafted him, is that he can run the offense, and then on third downs and in the red zone, he can make something happen. And so far, he's done everything you could have hoped.
And then today we saw it again later in a move the ball period from the Broncos offense. It was the very first play, and Bo Nix scrambled. He scrambled to the right, slightly threw it across his body. He's doing a lot of these across his body, and not once have I really seen it truly be in harm's way. And he did it in a perfect way because Devon Bailey was about 20 yards downfield in the middle of the field. Bo was just right around the numbers, so it was across his body, but nothing crazy. And then just threw it low on the ground. Devon Bailey made a great job getting down to catch the ball, and it was an absolute dart. You have to have a very strong arm to do that and not put it in harm's way. And Bo just continues to really obliterate a couple of narratives that were out there. One, that he's not an athletic quarterback. I think we're really seeing that. He also took off a couple of times today. Two, that he doesn't have – some people thought he didn't have a strong enough arm to be in the NFL. Not only has he blown that away, he's proven that he does have one of the strongest arms in the NFL. I mean, Hufanga said it's the strongest arm that he's ever seen in the NFL, or at least with his team. And Dre Greenlaw said something along those lines too. And man, does he have the ability to throw it across his body, off platform. He also threw a great pass off his back foot when pressure was in his face today. So he was a playmaker today. And that's also something that I think people in the draft process did not associate with him, and he's proving that.
Love it.
So you want me to take you through every play, or most every play that happened on the offensive side, and then we'll do it on the defensive side?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Okay.
How did you see both?
So it was fantastic. I mean, outside. So I told Ryan and Henry this before we started the show, but the shooting period, when you could take videos and pictures, was extremely short, and it was very disappointing how short it was. I feel bad for all the cameras that came out here to get literally like 6 minutes of footage. But outside of that, it was fantastic. I stood right in between both fields. Mike Shanahan was about 15 yards ahead of me watching practice, and I'll tell you what, Mike Shanahan was dialed in on the Broncos offense for most of practice. He's probably bored of Kyle Shanahan's offense. He knows it better than Kyle does probably at this point. And maybe he's picking up a little piece here and there of Sean's offense for Brock Purdy and his son. So that was kind of cool to see Mike out there watching his former team and watching his son. But so I stood right between both fields, and it was just fantastic. It was chaotic. So I might not have every single detail perfect, but it was absolutely awesome. And guys, how this practice started on both sides of the field, I might have said this already, but I'm pretty amped up right now. Both sides of the field, the Broncos dominated. I mean, the first half of practice, the Broncos dominated the 49ers on offense. Bo did everything he wanted. They were getting good holes on defense. The 49ers weren't able to do anything. It was very concerning if you're a 49ers fan, or very exciting if you're a Broncos fan like we are. So let's just dive into this hot start. When it comes to 7-on-7s, Bo was slicing them apart, and Brock Purdy wasn't able to do anything. But since we had so many plays of actual football, we'll just dive in to that of the actual team part. And it started, I love the way it started. Sean hated the way it started because it started with a good J.K. Dobbins run for 7 yards. Why Sean didn't like this? Trent Sherfield is a receiver out there blocking on the right side, and after the play, he starts shoving people. The very first play, after Sean Payton talked about how we didn't come to San Francisco to fight. In fact, he told the team, his message to the team was, we're not flying across the country to get in fights. We're flying across the country to get better at football.
You
And
can get fights in Denver, baby.
Exactly. There's plenty of fighting spots. So he starts pushing people. Sean runs over, yanks Trent Sherfield away, stops anything from happening right then. And that kind of set the tone for the Broncos offense. Like, we want to be bullies here. And that's what they were for the first half of practice. First play of practice, first pass, I should say, from Bo. He steps up in the pocket off a play action, hits Troy Franklin for 15 yards, completion. Great to see Troy. It was not a deep pass. It was a traditional curl. It was a great job by Troy. And what made it even better, there was defensive holding that he fought through to get to that catch. Still, that's not something that you would have associated Troy Franklin with last year. Like, you're associating Troy, like, if I would have told you guys that Troy Franklin's going to get held, you're probably saying, okay, well, he's going to the ground, or he's not getting open, or Bo's not going to throw it his way or something like that. No, he fought through it, still made the catch and the penalty on top of that. So I absolutely love to see that off the jump.
Once again, like, I'm happy that this new guy is here, but I'm just worried about what they did with Troy Franklin.
He's locked up somewhere.
It's number 11, baby, because no one's able to lock him up. Then the next play, you have a toss to Harvey. I would say the run game today was solid. I didn't see any runs be broken off, but for the most part, the Broncos were going forward in the run game, 4 to 6 yards, 3 to 5 yards. It felt like every single run was like that. And I did see someone in the Twitter chat ask if RJ Harvey played today. Yes, he did. And he was very active. Also, J.K. Dobbins, obviously very active. He was playing. The Tuesday was just a vet rest day for him. And then a guy to keep your eye on, because it's still much easier to evaluate the passing game, so we'll focus on that more today. But a guy to keep your eye on, Tyler Bidet. He is in the thick of it. Those are the words that Sean Payton used after practice, and it's very clear. He is being used as potentially that number 3 running back. We saw Jaleel pop up as the second, third running back on the unofficial depth chart, but Tyler Bidet really making a push there. And then you see Bo play action. A lot of play action today. Sean is intentionally getting Bo on the move with these play calls. Tons of play action. Hits Trent Sherfield on the right side for 5 yards. So Bo starts off looking solid. Good pass to Troy Franklin. Then he comes back again to start the next team period. He hits Troy Franklin again for 20 yards, this one on the opposite sideline, and Troy just could not be stopped. Again, more of a traditional route. I believe it was an out route on this one for 20 yards, looking like a full-on receiver. Then Bo bounces back and hits Marvin Mims on the left side for 20 yards. So he goes to Troy on the right side for 20 yards, and turns around, goes to Marvin on the left side for 20 yards. That period wraps up with a 5-yard run to Blake Watson, who got there. But, I mean, Bo starts off just 20-yard completions left and right.
Awesome. I mean,
yeah.
Go ahead, Henry.
Yeah, doing that, again, like the new wide zone system with the bootlegs off of it, that's something that this 49ers defense has been going up against every day in practice for 7 years now. And so to be able to pull it out against them, a team that should know pretty well how to defend it, and have it work the way it did, is a really good sign.
Just trying to give Zach a chance to catch his breath here and find his place in the notes. I do want to say we've got a lot of people watching, maybe some newcomers in the chat. So we appreciate you guys being here. Just a reminder, we do this every single week, 5 days a week. I was going to say Monday through Friday, but really during the season, you're adding in Sunday in there as well. So we'd love to have you around talking Broncos with us every day.
Absolutely. This next couple of series, I'm just going to put them all into one. This next series, Bo got sacked twice, and it's pressure right away. Again, probably a recurring theme. The biggest concern from this practice from an offensive standpoint was just how much pressure there was. And on these, Bo was able to make a quick check down to Marvin Mims on one, and then he just had to hold on to the ball to the other because it was such a quick sack. The next one, he starts off with a slant to Marvin Mims. Again, like to see these receivers who have been pinned as just little screen guys, as some may say.
Little screen boys.
Little screen boys, as some may say. Actually, have more of a traditional route tree like Troy and Marvin. Then on the next one, on the next series, the 49ers kind of stood up, and Bo wasn't able to have success through deep balls. That's the only thing that we didn't really see Bo do successfully today, was hit the deep ball. 20 yards, 25 yards. He had a lot of those, as I've already mentioned today that he had. But he wasn't able to go really further than that. Is it something I'm concerned about? Absolutely not, because we saw it so many times last year. But that was really the only area we didn't see Bo truly succeed at some point today. Then the Broncos moved into the red zone. Before we get to that, let us give a shout out to our friends over at Raising Cane's, where it is still the summertime and you might be doing a road trip. And if you are, you want to get Raising Cane's. And the awesome thing about Raising Cane's is, one, their food is delicious. You get the Texas buttery toast, you get the chicken fingers, you get the coleslaw, you get the cane sauce. And the awesome thing too, you can order online or through their mobile app. So if you're taking a road trip, you don't have to stop. You can just swing by, pick it up, your order's ready, and you are ready to rock and roll. So go to raisingcanes.com or download the Canes mobile app to get in on the best food out there. Get your order today at Canes and keep the road trip going. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
One love. Also, shout out to our friends over at Empire Today, the best in the business when it comes to flooring. You can go to a lot of different places out there. You can go to somewhere that could do your floor, they could do your roof, they could do your doors, they could do everything in your house, and maybe they'll do an okay job. But if you're looking for a new floor, why would you not just go to the place that absolutely specializes in flooring and is the best in the business when it comes to flooring? That's our friends over at Empire Today. You can go to empiretoday.com/DNVR and get $350 off your new floors. And you can also get a free consultation. You can use their AI tools to see how every floor would look in your house. There's so many options of what they do. But stick with the experts in flooring when you're looking for a new floor. Hit up our friends over at Empire Today. That's empiretoday.com/DNVR.
And when in doubt on the football field, make sure to hit up Courtland Sutton. When things go bad, you know Court's going to be there, and that's what happened in these next two red zone periods. It was a struggle. This is when the 49ers really started to say, okay, we're not going to be bullied by this Broncos team anymore, and it became a more even practice. I don't even want to say the 49ers became the better team in the second half. It just became more even in the second half, and two red zone periods, probably Bo's biggest struggle time here. And the one that was really tough, he overthrew RJ Harvey for what would have been such an easy touchdown. RJ Harvey just on a swing pass, the 49ers totally forgot about him. He's wide open, pressure in Bo's face, he throws it. Even though there was pressure, he still should have made the throw, just overthrew Harvey. It would have been an easy touchdown. Then he also overthrew Devon Bailey while stepping up in the middle of the pocket because there was pressure from the outside. He overthrew Bailey for also what would have been a touchdown. But then I love the way he bounced back. You talked about Sean getting in his bag a little bit earlier, Ryan. That's what Sean did, a little sweep to Mims for an easy touchdown. We know he's going to be doing those. And then that's when the play of the day happened, when Bo avoids the sack in the red zone, throws it to Court. He gets his feet in. And I just love the way that Bo bounced back to arguably his worst period in practice. Was he still ended really strong with the play of the day, despite there being pressure. And I pressure pretty much all of these plays, guys, and Bo still was able to come down with the touchdown at the end.
The one to Bailey, was that one of those where he was just like kind of still on the run when he threw it straight ahead?
Yep. Yeah. In fact, it was a jump pass. So it was like a difficult situation for him, and just, I guess, jumped a little too high, even for Bailey's standards there.
Those are the ones that get him. Yep.
They're sick when they work.
Yes, they are. Mm-hmm. They are. And I'll tell you what, the spontaneity, I think that's going to be something that we hear Sean say a lot, that he broke out today. Bo, when he's on the move, when it's the second play, when the play breaks down, I think we're going to see him really succeed this year. Then the next series, Bo comes up.
Real quick.
Yes.
Want to get to a couple people in the chat. And maybe you can star some good questions from the chat, since Zach basically said he has an unlimited amount of takes from this. So star some of the questions that are coming in to the chat, including the one that says Ryan's looking me in the eyes. The one thing that's come up a lot so far is Evan Ingram. Was he involved at all today?
Yes, he made a couple of passes, or catches. But like I said, it was really Marvin Mims, Courtland Sutton, and Troy Franklin. Then after that, it was just one or two catches here or there from guys. And Evan Ingram was one. He had a catch over the middle where he was going left to right that was for 10 or 15 yards, and like a delayed route from him where he stood in and then was pretty open. Bo was able to hit him. That's the one that I remember. I think he had one other catch as well, but it was more of a quiet day for him. I would have probably expected coming into this a louder day.
I'm going to give my take on this, and it's that if you were watching the Broncos, you can scout a lot about this team from last year. Let's just say you're the Titans, you're playing the Broncos week 1. You can scout a lot about what this team did last year. You can scout Bo, you can scout the offensive line, you can scout Court, you can scout Marvin Mims, etc. You cannot scout how Sean Payton is going to use Evan Ingram. And so I think that Sean might be trying to keep the Evan Ingram package in his back pocket as long as he possibly can before anyone gets an idea of what he's going to do. If you want to find out, you're going to have to go back and watch some like Jimmy Graham tape.
Yeah, the last person that I'd be worried about when healthy on this offense in terms of like making plays outside of probably Court is Evan Ingram. He's going to be such a staple in this offense. But it is a very fair question. How did he do when another team was there? And today we just didn't see him. We didn't see him pop. These next and Ryan and Henry keep bringing up questions, whether you guys have them or the chat has them. Yep.
The pressure part is concerning. Was there a certain part of the line that felt like it was letting down more than another?
It seemed it was from everywhere, but I would say the interior, middle left really kind of stood out to me the most. And that's kind of what gave Bo the most fits because as you've heard, when pressure was from the outside, Bo was able to step up and doing a really good job manipulating the pocket. And I think I mentioned a couple of times how he was able to step up and find someone. When there's pressure from the middle, you can't step up. And one pass, I don't know if I'll be able to find it really quickly, but one pass, he threw it off his back foot, and it was actually a great throw. I think it was a 10-yard completion. You don't want your quarterback to have to throw off his back foot. There was another one where I don't remember. No, that was Jared Stidham. Offensive lineman was literally thrown into him, and he like bounced off him and then scrambled to the left and just threw a ball what seemingly was going to be out of bounds. And then somehow, oh my gosh, 39, what's his name? Kyrie Rowan came up with the catch. He probably had the best statistical day, which I'll get to his play at the end here. But it was more so from the middle. And that's a really difficult part for a quarterback to have to work with. But then that's when those second plays come in, because then you have to run outside of the pocket. You have to go left and right.
Mm-hmm. Did Joaquin Davis do anything?
He did. He was standing. I don't remember who I was standing next to, but someone said, "Who is 80?" And I was like, "Oh, that's him. That's Joaquin Davis." Yep. And so yes, he did. He continues to just make plays, and I think right after that, someone said like, "Yep, he's just the perfect practice squad addition right there."
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Okay, so let's just get to the final part of the offense, because there were two more move the ball periods, but I'm pretty sure I've hit on those. Bo had a play action pass to Courtland Sutton for 15 yards. So Court continued to step up. And then that throw to Bailey that I talked about across his body for 20 yards, he also had. But then in the final move the ball period for the offense, this is situational work, arguably the most important part. The offense is down 3 points, fourth quarter, 1st and 10 from their own 40. So you got to go at least 20 yards. You'd like to go a little further than 20 yards to get in field goal range. You have 70 seconds on the clock, minute 10 on the clock. So offense should be able to at least get in field goal range to tie this thing up and go into overtime. Bo Nix on the very first play, sacked, but there was defensive holding. So Broncos get a little break there. Second down, he hits Lucas Kroll. First mention of him today. Lucas is able to get out of bounds. Good play, picks up yards, gets the first down. Next play, Bo Nix is sacked. This was one where Bo didn't even try to throw the ball because pressure was just right there. And that shows just how much pressure was on him. So concerning in the two of the first three plays in a very important part, there was pressure, big time pressure, fourth or second and 11 from the 46. Bo goes deep to Court and draws a defensive pass interference. And that's something that Bo is so good at. We talked about it. It was a really big thing a couple of years ago with Court, just about how good he was at drawing defensive pass interference penalties because of how big, how physical, how good he is on 50-50 balls. And he did it there. Next play, 1st and 10, Broncos already in field goal range because of that. Bo hits Trent Sherfield for 5 yards. Then he hits Adam Troutman for 18 yards. They forgot about Adam Troutman. They were too focused on probably Evan Ingram on the opposite side. Trout just wide open. Bo does a good job of finding him. Broncos have the ball on the 15-yard line. So this is the point in this series where Sean Payton goes from thinking, okay, let's get the field goal and tie it up, to let's get the touchdown and win. 1st and 10 from the 15. Bo throws an incompletion to Courtland Sutton. This might have been his most dangerous pass of practice. It could have been picked off, but the defender isn't able to come up with it. So that was really probably the most concerning play, just because it's like, man, you cannot throw an interception in this scenario. You've already got the field goal to send it into overtime. Don't throw a pick there, but it would have been a difficult interception. The defender got a hand on it, but nothing more than that. And then this one, 2nd and 10 from the 15, 16 seconds left. I wasn't able to see how many timeouts either team had. I imagine the Broncos did have a timeout because Bo Nix was sacked. And this was a pretty quick sack from the 49ers. 3rd and 15 with 11 seconds left. Let's see, an incomplete pass. The ball was tipped and there was just no chance of it being completed. So then end of drill because there's 6 seconds left in the field goal. Will Lutz comes out to kick a field goal. By the way, Will Lutz had a pretty rough day today. Was hooking it left and right, not making them. Now, they didn't send him out. I got a loud truck in front of me. They didn't send Will Lutz out for this one, so we don't know if he made it or not. But we talked about kickers and how good Will Lutz is today. He was just off. So and the Broncos did a good job. They completed their mission in this one of getting the field goal, tying it up, going into overtime. But I'm not going to lie, it was disappointing. When you have 1st and 10 from the 15, I thought Bo was certainly going to cap it off with the touchdown. But it's hard when there's just so much pressure. I mean, there's 3 plays and how many, 6 or 7 plays that I just mentioned? There's 3 of them where he sacked. It's tough. And again, this offensive line, I'm not concerned about them because they're so good. This 49ers defensive line, they invested 1st round pick in them every single year, it seems like. So they are a really good unit. But that was just the most disappointing, concerning part of today from the offensive standpoint.
Real quick, Will Lutz, the all-time leader in kicking percentage for the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say press the panic button quite yet there, chat.
Oh, absolutely not. Definitely don't. Mm-hmm. Henry, it looked like you had something.
It's good they got down there. Did you see who it was who almost picked him off? I was kind of curious about that.
I did not. No, that was on the far side of the field. It was someone on the 49ers starting defense, though, because this was definitely against their starters.
Okay. Yeah, it was mostly 1s-on-1s, 2s versus 2s, 3s versus 3s.
Yep, exactly.
That's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
It really was beautiful. Although I will say, they let Sam Ehlinger get a decent amount of playing time today. So Jared Stidham's definitely still the backup, but I just found that a little interesting.
This whole training camp, it's felt like the Broncos offense was swinging with a donut on the barrel, just trying to get ready for when the real at-bats come and make the bat feel a little bit lighter. Did it feel like the donut came off the barrel for the Broncos offense today?
A little bit. In terms of the secondary, it definitely did. Because you saw those 3 guys really open it up in terms of Mims and Franklin and Court. But from a pass rush standpoint, a little bit. I would say that Bo's probably a little more pressured when he's in Denver going up against this Broncos defense, but I expected that donut to be a lot lighter here in terms of the pass rush. I thought the Broncos offensive line, again, a group that I'm not concerned about because of how good they were last year, and this is now their second year. But it was just a little more of, oh, okay, I think the 49ers are have a great pass rush, and let's hope it's that, because it wasn't as easy in that respect. But what I will say is Bo was making more plays today, especially on the move, and especially when he's not throwing against Pat Surtain and Riley Moss. He was able to make more plays down the field, tons of 15 to 20-yard plays. And then speaking of the defense, guys, let's hop over to the defensive side of the ball, because I got a lot of notes here. Can you guys hear that or no?
Of course, yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. You're louder than whatever that is.
I stepped on the field, which is, 10 yards away from me. And I posted a picture on DNVR Broncos, immediately get a phone call from PR. Whoa, you're not allowed to be on the field. I find out later, not allowed to be on the field. Apparently, this is Levi's Stadium. There's a Levi's event at this stadium later tonight, which is...
You could get your first pair of jeans.
That's true.
Wow.
I should run away before the jeans start arriving. That sounds terrible.
That's true. They're going to judge you real hard when you're not wearing jeans to the jeans party.
Yeah, that's very true.
Mm-hmm.
But really quick, I am here in Santa Clara. Actually, San Francisco 49ers being in Santa Clara is just also why the Broncos cannot be the Lone Tree Broncos, the Arvada Broncos. No, it's got to be the Denver Broncos. But I'm here thanks in large part to everyone that supports us over at DNVR.com. And if you want to support us or get the best coverage in Denver, regardless of where the Broncos are, whether it's in Denver, whether it's in Santa Clara, whether it's on all these road trips that I'll be at, make sure to do that over at DNVR.com. You can get in on the DNVR Broncos tailgate tier, which, speaking of the tailgates, guys, we are having our first tailgate of the season in preseason next week. We are 9 days away from that. I think the Broncos have, it's like 7:30 p.m. game. Oh, my goodness. Come on. There's no better way to spend a Saturday than going to the Broncos game at night and then tailgating with us beforehand. So make sure to check us out over at DNVR.com/intro. You can also get your tailgate tickets over at DNVR.com/events. And if you become a DNVR Broncos tailgate tier member, you're going to get 2 tailgate tickets included. That right there is $140 value. Then it also includes a free t-shirt. You can upgrade from the base tier to the tailgate tier and get a free t-shirt included right away. $89.99 intro offer. You not only support us, you get the best coverage of Colorado sports. So we'd appreciate if you became a member with us. All right, fellas, let's hop over to the defensive side of the ball, where, again, for the first half of practice, it was pressure from everywhere. It was Jonathan Cooper. It was Nick Benito. It was Zach Allen. It was John Franklin Meyer. In fact, I have the first sack comes on. First off, they run the ball. Very first play is a run to Christian McCaffrey. Jonathan Cooper tackle for a loss. Next play, Justin Strnad with a pressure on Brock Purdy. Then a handoff, which is stuffed to their backup. Then JFM stuffs another run. Those were the 49ers' first 4 plays. Absolutely nothing. And they're trying to get the ball going to Christian McCaffrey, and there's just nothing there. Next play, John Franklin Meyer with an easy sack on Purdy. There were so many plays where Purdy didn't even try to throw the ball because it was just such an obvious sack. I think I mentioned 2 of those for Bo. There was way more of those for Purdy because this Broncos front was absolutely living in Brock Purdy's area. Then Christian McCaffrey run doesn't do much. They try to do a run with their backup. Jonathan Cooper tackle for a loss. I think I mentioned him a ton. He was so dominant in the run game again today. Then there was pressure. The next pass pressure. I think I've mentioned pressure with every single pass up to this point so far. And I'll tell you what, the guy in the secondary who won the day for the Broncos was Riley Moss. And that's including the greatness of Pat Surtain. Riley Moss won this day today in the backfield. He had, I think, 2 or 3 amazing pass breakups, and this was one of them. They tried to go deep, 20, 25 yards, and Riley, absolute textbook. Just right when the ball gets there, he swipes the ball down, so not able to get anything. I believe this next play was the most successful play that the 49ers had up to the date, or up to this point in practice. It was a 7-yard completion in the middle of the field. 7 yards was their best play, and that we're looking at the third period of team right now. Then they try to run the ball with Christian McCaffrey, and there's just nothing there. And by the way, I did see some people asking in the Twitter chat and also over on Twitter, if Christian McCaffrey looks healthy. He does. He looks good when he has space. The issue for Christian, he didn't really have space because the Broncos' run defense, that's what the pressure and the run defense was what really stood out to me today. There was just no room for McCaffrey. And then the final play of this kind of part of practice, 47, Henry, who is that?
Karene Reed. It should be Kareen, but I guess it's Karene.
Yes,
out of Utah.
Karene Reed, you're right. Tipped the ball. Karene Reed was with the starting defense. They were really rotating. So Justin Strnad, Alex Singleton and Dre Greenlaw did not practice today. They were both out there. Sean Payton did the right thing, just like we were begging him to do, and did not let Dre Greenlaw go out there today. And then we found out after practice today that from Sean Payton that Dre Greenlaw is not going to play on Saturday, despite saying last week he was going to play. Maybe he listened to us. Shout out to Sean for listening to us and saying, do not play him. Sean says he's not going to play on Saturday, which is the right move. And then he said next Monday he will be full go. So I'm still not worried about him because I think he's going to be okay, but there is no rush to bring him back. So what that did was it opened up.
Really quick, just thank God.
Yes.
We all agreed, like, keep Dre healthy. If there's any time he's going to overexert himself, it's this practice against this team or this game against this team. And who could blame him? Of course, everyone wants to show out against their former teammates. But it's the right thing to do to keep Dre safe and healthy. I almost said hafe and selfie.
What I'll also say, especially for this practice, the energy was palpable from both sides of the ball. Kyle Shanahan had the music pumping. In fact, it was pumping so much that it really pissed Sean off. You could tell after practice. He was like, that damn music, I just wanted to turn it off. I don't remember the exact word he used, but he absolutely hated it. Mike McGlinchey talked about how this is how 49ers practices are. And it felt like a true road environment just because of how loud the music was. And it was pumping. But it wasn't the 49ers that were like way more hyped than the Broncos. The Broncos were also hyped as well. So really good energy. And if Dre would have played, I am worried he would have just been a little too juiced. And, I don't know. He was really juiced when he got injured in that rep against J.K. Dobbins last week. So it was the right decision to keep him off here. So now we move to red zone where we have the Broncos defense going up against the 49ers offense. And so far, the Broncos defense has not allowed the 49ers to do anything. They were questioning why they were even here at this point. And this is kind of when, just like this point in practice, is when the 49ers defense started to step up against the offense. This is when the 49ers offense started to step up against the Broncos defense. And at first, it didn't start off like that. A couple of short completions. George Kittle had a 4-yard completion on P.J. Locke. You'll let him have that. DJ Jones in the backfield absolutely blew up a run from Christian McCaffrey. Would have been a tackle for a loss. Brock Purdy, again, shaking in his boots at this point because he's done absolutely nothing. Has an overthrow in the end zone. Riley Moss was in coverage, but overthrow there. Then another overthrow from Brock Purdy. He had a guy wide open in the end zone and missed him there. It just shows you, I think, how much the pressure was getting, the constant pressure was getting to Brock Purdy. And then this one, he has his first success. He had all the time in the world. First time that he has not been under pressure. I don't know where the pressure was. I don't know what. It was like I was watching a completely different team. I had to look to make sure the third string Broncos defense wasn't in there, because I kid you not, guys, it was like 9 seconds in the pocket where Purdy did not move his feet. He just stood there and looked. And then when that happens, anyone's going to get open, but especially Christian McCaffrey. So that's what happened. Purdy hit McCaffrey for a touchdown. That gave Purdy confidence to go after Pat Surtain this next play. And they were like on the 4-yard line. It was a little slant. Pat was playing pretty far off, and Purdy was able to hit him for a touchdown. Pat would have absolutely blown this receiver up. I don't remember who it was, but he probably would have held on to it in the end zone. So back-to-back touchdowns for Purdy. That's when you started to see the 49ers reports come out about how Purdy's heating up, and it was 2 good touchdowns right there. And then we get to 2 final move the ball periods. One is a situation, and one is just a traditional move the ball. Before we get there, any questions?
Was Trent Williams practicing? I saw somebody in the chat said he wasn't.
To be honest, I don't know.
Okay.
Did not pay attention to no, he must have been, because Hufanga said he went up to him in the middle of the practice and pretended to punch him many times because he said he was going to start a fight with Trent.
Did you notice like a gigantic mountain on the field on the left side of the San Francisco offensive line?
I think it's I don't want to take words out. I don't want to say anything, but Hufanga made some comment just about how there was a massive man on the field, referring to Trent Williams.
Okay, yeah. But I like how locked in you are on the Broncos. Who cares about the 49ers?
Yes. Also, did you see Rashawn Slater tore his patella? So the Chargers don't have their best player this season?
Massive blow.
But it's also big news for the Broncos, yeah.
How many times do I have to tell people?
I know.
I'm not wishing for these things to happen to them, but like
no.
My guy on the Buff Show, Scott Proctor, he's new to Denver, and the AFC West, he's more of an NFC North type of guy, and he's like, oh man, like Chargers look like they're really building something out there. Are you worried? And I was like, no, it'll all come crashing down for them. Don't you?
And I mean, even if they do like put together a solid season, like making the playoffs, just like last year, Justin Herbert's going to throw more picks in the playoff game than he threw all season long, and it's just going to be absolutely disastrous. So yeah, you're right. One way or another, it's going to come down for the Chargers. Okay, so this next move the ball period for the defense, quick out to Surtain. So Brock Purdy's feeling himself. He's like, oh, I can test anyone now. It's like, okay, you've had 2 completions, and one of them was a quick slant, and the other you had no pressure on you. But he gets in his back. He's feeling it. Does make a completion against Surtain, again, for like 3 or 4 yards. Then he hits Kyle Juszczyk in the middle of the field for a short gain. Then Justin Strnad comes up with a big-time play. On Juszczyk again, and he's able to come down with a PBU there. Then here's when a chunk play happened. They did find George Kittle in the middle of the field for 25 yards. Kittle and McCaffrey, really only success that Brock Purdy was able to have sustained success with in terms of weapons right here. And then they hit George Kittle again. Then they're on the 20-yard line or so just entering the red zone. And Ricky Pearsall beat Jahdae Barron for a 20-yard touchdown. And it was right in front of me. And Barron was in really tight coverage. It was good coverage. This is their first round, the 49ers' first-round pick from last year, who they're really relying on with Brandon Ayuk in I don't know. It's crazy. It seems like he's in limbo with the team, even though he just got a big deal with them and obviously trading Debo. So they're really relying on Ricky Pearsall. And he did come up. It was a good throw. It was a good catch. The coverage was there, but he was beat for a touchdown there. So that was up to this point by far the 49ers' best play of the day. And it came on the Broncos rookie. But again, it wasn't an embarrassing play for Jahdae there. Then we get to the end of practice for the defense, and it's the same situation. Broncos defense is up 3 points. They got the 49ers backed up on their own 40, fourth quarter, minute 10 left. So you don't want to allow them to get a field goal. You certainly don't want to allow them to get in the end zone because then you lose the game. They start off with a short pass to Christian McCaffrey. Then he goes to Christian McCaffrey again, but Lavelle Bailey is in really good coverage. So Broncos inside linebackers, the backups, really stepping up here. We talked about that incompletion that Kareem Reed? Karen A. Reed forced earlier. Justin Sternad forced one. Lavelle Bailey forced one up against the 49ers first team offense. So really impressive showing from the backups there. Then Purdy hits a slant. They spike the ball. 3rd and 4, they get a completion, but Jahdae Barron coming off the edge. Vance sent him. It was very similar to the one that we saw earlier this week where Jahdae was really about to hit Bo Nix and force a throw, but they were still able to complete that. Then the offense had a penalty, so they got 1st and 10 from the 13-yard line. So they have been able to move the ball against Broncos first team. And then Pat Surtain, beautiful PBU. So now it's 2nd and 10. You wonder if the 49ers are going to stall out just like the Broncos offense did. But again, some reason, no pressure. The Broncos, just no pressure. Brock Purdy has all the time in the world, and he beats Riley Moss for a touchdown. You just can't let your secondary cover for 7, 8, 9 seconds, any secondary. So 49ers score. So little disappointing end to practice, especially how dominant it started because the Broncos offense isn't able to score a touchdown. They do get a field goal, so not that disappointing. But then the defense gives up probably has their worst series in practice there. And it's just it was honestly the Broncos defense was not allowing anything on the run, in the air, outside of these couple of plays where there was just shockingly no pressure there at all. Something to worry about? No, because as I said earlier, it's like 85-90% of the snaps, there was at least some sort of pressure, if not like really good pressure, if not big time sacks. But it was just interesting how 10 to 15% of the time, it wasn't like it was just normal pressure where they were getting after him after 4 or 5 seconds. There was just no pressure for 7 or 8 seconds. And then Brock Purdy, as probably any quarterback should be able to do, was able to come up with the play.
It's like the only thing that could have stopped this from being a perfect day. You know, if you would have come here and said, yep, then they did it, and they went 3 and out or 4 and out, and the game was over. But other than that, it feels like everything was in a good position. Maybe a chance for Sean to, pound some conditioning into their mind. Maybe they got a little tired of practice, and that's what happened.
I mean, it was, like I said earlier, it was maybe the most reps I've seen in any practice, maybe dating back to the last time the Broncos were here in a joint practice against the 49ers, like nearly a decade ago when you were here, Ryan. They really got so much work in, and so much so that the 49ers aren't going to play most of their starters on Saturday. Sean said the Broncos, despite all the work they got today, are still going to play their starters. Now, hope some key guys don't play. We know Drake Greenlaw won't play. But the Broncos, after what I saw today, the Broncos should smack down. The Broncos first team, at least, should smack down the 49ers backups. And just really, because so few people were able to watch today's practice, show the rest of the world and Broncos country, give them a good taste in their mouth because of how good they were for most of practice today.
2 quick things. One, is it too late to claim Lavelle Bailey as my guy? Has that been taken yet?
Yeah. No, he was my guy last training camp.
Yeah, I think Henry did claim him last year.
All right. Yeah, well, I have Jaquan, so that's fine.
I've got Pat.
You did like his name.
Good.
No. I like his name. We can go find the tape. I literally said, like, whoever that guy out there, 29 or whatever number he was wearing as a rookie, I don't remember if it was 29. But I was like, that guy is going to be my guy to make the team as an undrafted guy this year. So,
well, I'll tell you what,
that's
guys.
Different than what I remember.
All right, we'll find it.
That's the name of the guy who's going to be a good cornerback. That's what I remember.
I did mention that.
True.
I did mention that Jahdae was out there, had a really good pressure, was beat for that touchdown. There was a healthy mix of Jaquan in there with the ones as well. And we saw the unofficial depth chart come out yesterday where Jaquan is listed as the starter. Sean puts every single rookie at the very end of the depth chart. So not much to read in there, but Jaquan still getting a lot of time. I think he's certainly going to get snaps with his first team defense, even in the nickel spot at times. I still do think that Jahdae is going to be the week 1 starter there. But it's clear that Jaquan will be on the field.
Before we hit a couple of these questions, obviously we've already gone over, but before we hit a couple of these, just a reminder for the new people, we do this 5 days a week. Also, Henry and I will be doing, and Benny Fowler, will be doing a pregame show for the preseason game on Saturday, a postgame show for the preseason game on Saturday, and a watch-along. So you can spend your entire day with us, which sounds pretty great.
I love it. So tune in at 6, I think game's at 6:30, so pregame right around 6.
Yep. I also have a golf tournament first thing in the morning, a party in the afternoon, and then I'm coming in hot to the pregame show. So I might be on one.
Oh boy.
It's preseason. I got to get my reps in.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, do we have some questions here? I've literally told you guys pretty much every single play that happened here to keep you updated. And just before we dive into questions, I really do feel like at least the first 70% of practice today, the story 100% was this team came out and proved Sean Payton right about his Super Bowl comments and them feeling it. And after practice, Bo said, of course, that's what we're thinking. If you're not thinking Super Bowl, then what are you even doing here? And then I asked Bo about the Sean's comments about being a top 4 or 5 quarterback in the NFL in the next 2 years. And he said something along the lines of, I don't have the exact quote, but he said something along the lines of, I don't want my head coach to be wrong about that. And it's like, oh man, I love it. I love it. Okay. What questions do we have?
Well, Henry, if you have to run, you can.
Okay. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks, Henry. Great job. Henry had some.
I don't know if we tossed it into overtime yet, but you hear if we need to toss it into overtime. Did he already toss it into overtime?
I don't think we need to.
Okay, perfect.
All right, let's get to the comments here. I'll call them out, and you can bring them up. First one that I'm noticing here is from Brian Newman. He said, "How is Barron looking?"
He's looking good.
Jade.
Yep. He just doesn't look lost ever. And Ryan, especially at that nickel spot, especially when the Broncos have been working him inside and out, it's pretty clear that they're narrowing him in at that nickel spot on the inside. He could easily be lost. I mean, you and I have seen some good cornerbacks, some young cornerbacks that just look lost, especially the first few weeks of training camp. He does not look lost out there. He was beat, but he was in the exact perfect coverage. It was a better throw that just went right over his head. But I mean, he was in really good coverage on Ricky Pearson there.
Cool. We got a few here, so we can go pretty rapid fire with your answers, Zach.
Keep it short. I'm not good at that.
Asks, who had interceptions today?
So the interceptions came in 7-on-7s, and let me just pull up my notes. You actually had Jaquan on a pick. Brock Purdy, the ball was tipped, and Jaquan was able to catch it. And then J.L. Skinner with the ones was able to get an interception in 7-on-7s there, but none during team.
All right. Pat Bryant update from today.
He made a really good catch, and I think it was on a pass from Jared Stidham. Ryan, the defender was in his face. I don't know how he saw this ball, but somehow he was able to catch it and then turn upfield. It would have been he caught it about 20 yards downfield. It would have been a 25, 30, 35-yard gain. It was an incredible play. That's the only one that I saw from him today.
Did Caleb Lohner get any action from the Duck Factory?
We did see it. Number 84 make a play, not with the first team, but man, he looks way more natural than you would expect from a guy that had 4 college catches in his entire career.
Super chat from our guy Alan says, how does Bo look in the pocket? Like, is he making quick decisions, and how is his footwork?
Yeah, he's making good decisions, and just the thing that I'm most impressed about with Bo is his ability to make plays, not just on the run when he's out of the pocket, but really stepping up into the pocket. Ryan, I think that's an evolution of his game that we're really going to see, is him manipulating the pocket well, and that's going to help, especially if an offensive line has more of a difficult day like they did today. Just being able to step up in the pocket, that's going to avoid so many sacks. Just the difference between Russell Wilson handling that and running out of the pocket and getting sacked, as opposed to both stepping up, is huge.
From Hydramo, he says, run game question mark. I'm going to make this. Give me a grade for the run game today.
I would say I'd say B. Because, like I said, they were getting 3 to 6 yards on pretty much every single carry, unlike the 49ers, where there were a lot of TFLs and no room to run. I did not see the Broncos break a run with the first-team offense, so that's why I held it back from an A, but very, very solid. And Mike McGlinchey said after that he felt like this was a big step, today was, for the Broncos run game.
All right, just a couple more. Victory Lap asks, Boss Moss update.
The boss, just incredible. He was beat on that final one that I mentioned, but again, you let a quarterback have 7, 8, 9 seconds, that's going to happen. Many PBUs, and like I said earlier, with including Pat Surtain, he was the defensive back of the day today.
Love that. I think this will be the last one. We got to get Zach some rest. He's been traveling since 2:30, or I guess probably like 1 a.m. this morning.
Wake up was 2:40. Yep.
How do you? I just wouldn't go to sleep. Anyways, got to get Zach some rest. So this last one will be a nice one to end on from Goobies. Which player looked to be having the most fun?
Boy, that's a great question. Riley Moss. I mean, when you're making play, when your defense really dominates, especially to start, you get that juice, and then you're the one making plays back there. He was pretty amped up, and I gotta say the energy was so good. And Ryan, I heard a veteran reporter today when we were walking back to the media room after practice say, I've watched 2 of the Broncos' most recent Super Bowl runs. So that must be 2015. And I don't know if it was 2013 because that was like a run. They didn't win. I don't know. But he said that feeling that I had early in the year watching that team, I have that now. And so now we're starting to – we're getting it from the head coach. We're getting that feeling. To me, I've never covered a Super Bowl team, but this feels like something different from what I've experienced in my last 10 years. This is my 10th year of covering the team, and it does feel different. And so I think there's a lot of excitement in Broncos country, and I think that excitement's justified. And I think we've got a lot to look forward to come September 7th, week 1 against the Titans.
Love it. Shout out to the Danimal too. Sorry we weren't there at the DNVR bar today. But it's also a good place to remind people that when Henry and Benny and I are doing our post-game, pre-game, and watch-along on Saturday, you can find us at the DNVR bar. There will also be a watch party going on at the DNVR bar. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time today, our sound quality and video quality is much better when we're actually in our home studio. So looking forward to that this weekend.
Absolutely. And Ryan, so pumped to join you and Henry today. I think that's going to do it unless you have anything else for us.
That's all we got, man. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you back here next week.
I'm going to be typing away, so make sure to go to thednvr.com for even more in-depth notes. And shout out to everyone tuning in, the OGs, the people that rock and roll with us throughout the off season, through training camp, in the season, and everyone new here. Hit us with a thumbs up. Like Ryan said, we do this 5 days a week. They'll be back tomorrow on Friday to preview the training camp or the preseason game. And then, of course, make sure to tune in with us right around 6 p.m. on Saturday. That's going to do it. Shout out to everyone that tuned in. Shout out to you, Ryan. And we'll see you guys tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos podcast.
We all city like the mayor.